If starting a clothing line is your dream, but you don't have a lot of money, I'm gonna tell you 5 tips to make sure you don't waste it. These are things a lot of startup fashion designers get wrong, and I wanna make sure you don't make the same mistakes. What you're gonna learn will surprise you because there are a lot of misconceptions about where you do and don't need to spend money when it comes to manufacturing a clothing line. And make sure to watch to the end where I'm gonna share the most surprising tip about choosing a factory that most designers get wrong. I'm Heidi, founder of SuccessfulFashionDesigner.com. I have over a decade of industry experience, and I've interviewed over 100 designers on my podcast. It's my goal to teach designers like you the real-world skills you need to get ahead in fashion and manufacture your clothing line. It's all the stuff you don't learn in fashion school. A lot of people don't talk about these things, so I call it Fashion Industry Secrets Revealed. So let's jump in. 5 tips to make sure you don't waste your money when manufacturing your clothing line. It's tempting to invest in a book here, a class there, buying sample fabric at Mood, but when you spend your money on things that don't matter, it leaves less money for things that do. So what shouldn't you waste your money on? Number 1, paying retail for fabrics and trims. Stop doing this. When you're starting a clothing line, you're a business, which means you should be paying wholesale prices. Most stores that you can just walk into, like Mood, Joann's, or any front-facing shop in the garment district, is selling retail, which means you're paying twice as much as you should be. And it doesn't matter if you're starting small, there are ways to get wholesale fabric even if you just need 1 yard. Check out my complete guide to sourcing fabrics with low minimums. It's absolutely free and I've linked it below. Number 2, expensive drawing classes. It might sound crazy, but you do not need to draw beautiful fashion illustrations to start a clothing line. Modern fashion production is done from technical fashion flats, not concept drawings. Instead of learning to draw by hand, use Adobe Illustrator to draw technical fashion flats. I have a ton of free tutorials that I've linked below. Number 3, not having a complete tech pack. Tech packs are a blueprint to make sure the factory knows how to make your design. And I know so many designers who go into production thinking, I don't need a tech pack. It takes time and money to create one. I don't want to do it myself. I don't want to hire someone. And you know what happens? They wind up going through sample after sample after sample, costing way more time and money in the long run because the factory doesn't know exactly what they want. The factory winds up making assumptions and they do everything wrong. This unnecessary time and development will cost you cold, hard cash, plus weeks and months on end. So go in with a complete professional tech pack to make sure your designs get made right the first time. I have a free tech pack template and tutorials to show you how to use it. I've linked to all those resources below. Number 4, fancy fashion schools. People get so hung up on having a degree and a formal certificate, but do you really need advanced couture draping and medieval fashion history knowledge to start a clothing line? Really consider the classes, the cost, and the time that a degree at a fancy fashion school is gonna take. You may be better off with a few online courses specific to what you need to learn. They're a lot faster and cheaper, and they're often taught by someone who's been there and done that, which isn't always the case with fashion school. The last and most surprising tip about starting your clothing line, where most designers mess up, is when it comes to choosing a factory. Most people get this wrong because it's contradictory, but the biggest waste of money is choosing the cheapest factory. In my decade plus of experience and the 100 plus designers I've interviewed on my podcast, choosing a cheap factory almost always results in a nightmare and spending way more money in the long run. They're a pain to deal with, they'll often just up and disappear, and there's a reason they're cheap. Their quality is often junk. You'll be left with defective product runs that you can't sell. Take the time to research, ask good questions, and find a reputable factory that does good quality work. And make sure you always get a sample before placing any down payment or ordering bulk production. The time and investment sampling takes will save you tenfold over the long run. And paying a little more per piece at the right factory will be a lot cheaper than being left with a whole production run that you can't use. So there you are, 5 ways not to waste money when manufacturing your clothing line. 1, don't pay retail for fabrics and trims. Even if you need small quantities, you can get them at wholesale pricing. Number 2, forget about sketching beautiful fashion illustrations by hand and instead learn how to draw technical flats with Adobe Illustrator. Number 3, make sure you have a complete tech pack to make sure your designs get made right the first time. Number 4, skip fancy fashion schools and instead look for reputable online courses from designers who've been there and done it. And number 5, don't choose the cheapest factory. Spending a little more upfront will save you so much more money in the long run. I have a ton more free resources to help you out with this stuff. I've linked to all of them below. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And for more free tutorials, tips, and advice on how to get ahead in fashion, head on over to successfulfashiondesigner.com, where I share tons of stuff you don't see on YouTube. I'd also love to hear from you. Of these 5 tips, what was the most surprising? Let me know below in the comments. Check out my complete guide to sourcing not low fabrics. Puma, shut your mouth. No, quiet. Shh.